An exciting Saturday it is right here in our studios in Lagos, Nigeria. It's of course time to talk about what's happening at the Africa Cup of Nations. Today is the eve of the closing stage of the tournament, and of course today is the third place match between two wonderful footballing nations, Egypt and Nigeria. Welcome to the show that brings you up to speed with the latest happenings when it comes to the African Cup of Nations. And Favor Itua, your anchor for today's edition of the program. I'm being joined by a sports journalist, analyst who has been with us since the start of the tournament, and of course rounding up the AFCON Express with us. Ibitayo Daramala joins us this morning. Ibitayo, good morning to you and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Favor. First time I'm seeing you post our defeat. Funny enough, first time in a long while a defeat doesn't feel that sad for me.
Exactly.
So,
I mean,
I'm good.
Maybe aside for Samuel Chukwueze, it's been just, oh boys, well done, you guys did great. I mean, Nigerians have say okay. Yeah. I mean, it's not that we did not play, we not try to get to this part of the tournament. Probably we did not bring our best game, or maybe officiating did not go the way of Nigeria. But it's been moving forward. What do we do next? And that's what we'll be talking about today on the show. You know the drill. You will of course be part of the show via our social media platform and News Central TV on X, on YouTube. You can also be part of the conversation and join what's happening right now in the African Cup of Nations. We'll begin with updates and news coming out from Morocco. It was an interesting time on Friday where African music star Burna Boy delivered a thrilling performance at the AFCON Last Dance concert, closing the Cup of Nations 2025 Fan Zone Series in Rabat on the 16th of January. Now, the free concert at OLM Suzy Fan Zone served as a cultural send-off for the tournament, which concludes on Sunday. Now, Burna Boy headlined the star-studded lineup featuring Ghanaians Stormzy, hitmaker Stone Boy, and Moroccan artist Jailin, tuning the venue into a vibrant celebration of African music and football. Now, fans were treated to high-energy renditions of popular hits, including It's Plenty, For Everybody, as the crowd danced late into the night. The concert followed Morocco's semi-final victory over Nigeria and capped weeks of fan-focused entertainment across whole cities. And the Fan Zone series blended football, music, and culture, reinforcing AFCON's 2025 status as a continental showcase. Let's get to hear from a bit of what happened in Morocco on Friday.
Since 1947, the matter never settled. We be more than we get to. Responsibility no ya walenu. Better recognize. Greatest of all time. No one that they never go by. I said they shut it down. That's what she's everybody say Burna! We wanna party!
All right, right here in the studio, we just want to continue from where they stopped on Friday. But Ibitayo, culture, music, entertainment, and football go hand in hand. And interesting to see that, you know, Nigerian artists also are not left out when it comes to celebration of sporting culture in Africa.
Yeah, I mean, in entertainment, we are practically #1 in Africa, global superstars. And hardly any major event that has happened in recent times that you don't find in Nigerian headlining. And that's, I mean, at least we can boast about that we are #1 in that. And it goes a long way. These artists, they've worked their socks off. And for the fans, while the fans, tension has built up, some are sad and every other thing that has gone. Some are happy their teams are in the final. This is a way to ease the tension and just get into the groove. And I like what Morocco has done.
All right, Morocco have been able to infuse entertainment, although that's what we see with football, even in FIFA and CAF. I remember the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, we had Davido, grace the, I think, opening ceremony and closing ceremony. Yeah. Even the opening ceremony of the Confederation of African Football, Morocco 2022, Davido was also part of it. It's interesting to see that we are also, showcasing our talents and, African artists from different parts of the world. And I'm very sure that Nigerians would be happy with what happened in Rabat. Well, maybe if we had qualified to the final, it would be more dance and more fanfare. But let's leave that now and talk about more news from the African Cup of Nations. The Confederation of African Football, CAF, has appointed Moroccan referee Jalal Jied to officiate the AFCON 2025 third place playoff between Nigeria and Egypt in Casablanca on Saturday. Now, the high-profile fixture will determine the bronze medalists at the tournament. CAF also confirmed Algerian official Lalu Ben Braham as video assistant referee for the encounter. Now, both teams entered the match seeking to recover from semi-final disappointment. Nigeria Super Eagles were eliminated by the host nation Morocco after a 4-2 penalty loss, while Egypt suffered a 1-0 defeat to Senegal. Now, with continental pride and podium finish at stake, the playoff offers a final chance for both sides to end their campaigns. Ibitayo, we have not recovered from the last match, and now CAF has appointed Moroccan officials against in the game involving Nigeria and Egypt, and the person who will be in charge of VAR is from Algeria.
I don't even know what to say and where to lie in this, because is it some sort of compensation? Maybe the Moroccan referee will look at it and say, okay, Nigeria, maybe we'll get 50-50 calls this time around, and we'll have to stop starts like we did at the semi-final against the Moroccans. Look, for most West African and Nigeria included, we just like playing free-flowing football. We want, if you can defeat us, do that the right way, and then we'll applaud you. We'll even boo our own teams if our teams are not playing well. But when you use underhand tactics, that's what we don't like. Hopefully the referee will let the game flow. It's no pressure. I mean, it's for the bronze medal. And when it comes to bronze medal, we are experts at it, and we are confident. Hopefully, Egyptians, they bring their A game, and we have a beautiful football to showcase to the rest of the world. All
right, Ibitayo, I mean, I'm particularly concerned about what's happening with, choosing match officials. This tournament has shown us that there's been inconsistency when it comes to appointing match officials. We even hear that in some of the games, the countries protest, and the officials are changed. In Cote d'Ivoire, it was not like that. I mean, whatever referees that are appointed for a game were not seen in maybe a region bias. It's neutral. For instance, Nigeria plays against a Moroccan side. You're getting maybe a South African referee or a referee from East Africa. Everybody will not complain. Even though the officiating is bad, no one will attribute it to the region. But this 2025 Nations Cup has been different. Is it a case of Morocco putting pressure as part we've hosted? Whatever happens, it's our tournament to win. Is it that case, or because it shows that CAF maybe has not done their own work in looking at the games and knowing what to do at the right time?
The refs are humans, whether you like it or not. They are humans. They make decisions based on feeling. They ought to be professional, or they are professional. But I mean, you can't take away the human part of it. And there's a reason why, if two North African teams are playing, you wouldn't put a North African referee. There's a reason why, because those biases do exist. And I think it's more on the referees association and the referees for them to work on other regions, because how many regions are represented and the referees selected? No Nigerian ref, no Ghanaian ref.
There's Ghanaian ref.
I wanted to say, so 54 nations in Africa, we have to have pockets of representations from representatives from almost every country, especially the big nations. So it's on the referees association to work with their referees so that other regions can catch up with the ones they call the best of the best on the continent, and we can have a level playing field. So two East African nations are playing, we don't have to have another East African referee in there, and there will be no call for bias. Or two nations that don't like themselves, and you bring a referee from that nation to go. We can cut through all this if we have enough, the pool is deep enough, and of course spread across the regions in Africa.
All right, I just also let you know that the referee for today has officiated 2 games as the center referee in this competition. The first game was between Uganda and Tanzania. These 2 teams were in Nigeria's group. He ended 1-1. He gave 2 penalties in that game. First penalty was given to Tanzania. They scored. Uganda missed their penalty, but he ended 1-1. Then the second game in this competition was between Mozambique and Cameroon, and they ended 2-1 in favor of Cameroon. No red cards to report, but of course yellow cards. But let's see what happens today. The best thing, we will still come to that game. We'll also analyze what to expect from the game. But let's wrap up our AFCON news update with a story from Botswana. We hear they have officially entered the race to host the 2028 African Cup of Nations, confirming plans to submit a joint bid with South Africa. Now, the announcement comes as the CAF Executive Committee meets in Rabat, Morocco, discussing major tournaments and hosting rights. Now, Botswana's move reflects growing ambition in its football administration, aiming to boost infrastructure, tourism, and regional cooperation. Partnering with South Africa, an experienced host with established stadiums and logistics, strengthens the bid. While the formal process will unfold in the coming months, the declaration signals Botswana's serious intent to co-host Africa's flagship football tournament. Ibitayo, maybe aside Morocco or maybe Egypt, it seems other nations will have to co-host. because I don't think maybe any country at this moment will be able to pull out 9 stadia or even 8 stadia for African Cup of Nations.
Maybe I throw South Africa in the ring too. I mean, they've hosted World Cup before, so I mean that shows they are capable of doing that. But I think for the future, that's the way to go. Co-hosting is the way to go. It helps share the financial burden. Of course, opens up chance for the smaller nations who ordinarily wouldn't have a chance of hosting this tournament. It opens it up because when you're partnering with your big brother, so to say, in South Africa, you know that you just need to have like 3 stadiums and they take care of the rest. And yes, you know, there's this advantage when you host, boost the economy on the long run for your country. The smaller nations need help, hence the co-hosting and every other thing. And like I said, it's the way forward. The World Cup is going to be hosted by the North African countries, the big North African countries. Next World Cup, of course, the one coming to is going to be the Iberian Nation World Cup after Saudi. So many things being planned, and it's around co-hosting, even 3 nations hosting. So Botswana have thought the best way for them to host Africa will be to partner with their big brother, South Africa. And I mean, I applaud that. I hope they get the bid.
All right, we hope they get the bid for that. But I don't know if Ibita gets to see tomorrow where maybe our National Sports Commission will come out and say 2028 is possible. Ghana, what are you doing? Benin Republic, I mean, we've had Ghana, Nigeria 2000.
Yeah, we have Ghana, Nigeria.
But also, I'm looking at the aspect of the fans and journalists. Now, Ibita, we have a tournament in 2027, Pamuja, AFCON, Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania. Now, we saw similar campaign in Chan. And trust me, from journalists that attended, it's not easy to navigate a particular country to another country, considering the fact that in West Africa or East Africa, the transportation system is not like what we have in Morocco, where trains go, you know, even 4 hours and 5 hours, and then you're back. You have series of, you know, train trip. In Africa, maybe in other parts of Africa, is either you fly or you're going to use road. Ibitayo, what about the financial constraint on journalists and on fans if we have to have this joint bid in Africa with the transportation system?
Russia, the World Cup Russia hosted was still one of the best for me. And the reason why I call it one of the best is least of the complaints from journalists. Free rides to as long as you have your ID that shows, yes, I'm a fan or I'm a journalist, you get your free rides. And these countries must make compromise. If you have 3 nations hosting, 2 nations hosting, there has to be a compromise. Like I said, it will hit the pocket of the average journalist that goes there to cover the game. Imagine having one game and playing the group stage in Botswana and then having to play the quarterfinal stage in South Africa. I mean, visa issues, and these are part of the reasons why there are bids. You have to show the people that would select us, what are you going to do to soften the blow for the fans that will be coming in, the journalists that will be coming in? And these are what the selectors ought to look at. And like I always said, 2018 World Cup was a perfect example of everybody to emulate. It's going to hit the host nations in their pockets, but there has to be a provision. Russia is a very big nation. They understood that. You can't go from one end to the other end of Russia and you think your pocket is going to smile. So they made it available, cheap, and free for everybody that went there. So I think that's the way to go. If you want to host, you must be able to make some compromises. All
right, some compromises, says Ibitayo. We look forward to the host nation for 2028, and whichever country gets the hosting right would probably plan towards it. I mean, we're Nigerians, we're Africans, we know how to still go through the system, irrespective of the challenges we face, you know, across the road. But we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be going more into the African Cup of Nations. Nigeria face Egypt today, right there in Casablanca. Welcome back. You're still watching AFCON Express on News Central TV. Let's go straight into the big game today. Nigeria's Super Eagles will face Egypt on Saturday, which is today, in the 3rd place playoff at the 2025 African Cup of Nations, making their 9th appearance in the bronze medal match. Now, despite modest expectations before the tournament, Nigeria impressed with cohesive performances before falling to host Morocco in the semi-final. The campaign was shaped by defensive setbacks, including the retirement of Captain William Truss-Ekong, injuries to key defenders like Ola Aina and Fredericks Benjamin. Calvin Bassey stepped up and has been a formidable force in Nigeria's defense since the start of the tournament. We also know for the games that Eric Chell will be looking forward to winning a bronze medal. In Nigeria, we call it golden bronze as his team take on Egypt. Let's get to hear from him and the boys, ahead of this game, what they're saying and how they're going to approach the game.
We are preparing good, and I think we are all fully ready for the game, because we cannot think about losing the game. We cannot let that disturb us mentally, So we are very prepared for the game, I think.
Nigerians are fully behind us. They know, and we believe we'll give them the result they deserve. Nigerians, they are hoping for us to bring the trophies home, but unfortunately we could not. But our bread is better than nothing. We're going to take our bronze medal home and make Nigeria smile.
Obviously, first AFCON, coming here with the team and stuff, my brothers, it's been wonderful, great experience. Obviously not to get the win last game was a bit disappointing, but we're pushing through, and this game will come out with something. Yeah, fit, ready. Obviously missed out a lot, but now back fit, ready to train and fit for tomorrow. So.
All right, Ryan Alibioshu right there talking about the game. But joining us at the moment to talk more and also to preview the third place clash is the man behind ACL Sports, the website, giving relevance to sports like in Nigeria, of course, Africa and beyond. Calvin Onka joins us this morning. Calvin, good morning to you. Thank you very much for joining us on AFCON Express. All right, can you unmute your device?
It's not on mute.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Right. Thank you for having me, as I said.
Okay. We had you particularly myself, I had you on the show some weeks ago. We're talking about, the game. I remember you joined in mid in the tournament, and we're looking forward to go all the way to the final. It didn't happen. Now we have to fight for bronze. A lot of persons are, looking at Eric Chell, maybe going to give some players an opportunity to play. But if you were in the shoes, should we approach this game with a sense of let's get this bronze medal, play our best squad, or try to rotate the teams and give players who have not had much time in the tournament?
We've never come forth at the AFCON. We have played so well in this tournament. It will actually be tragic if these boys were to finish fourth and not go home with any medals. So it's a very dicey one for the technical crew. I would still, if I was him, if I were him, I'll still go out with the strongest team so that we can win this third place and ensure that we keep our record going, and more importantly, give the boys the sense that comes with winning something. The disappointment of losing the semi-final the other day will still be there, but that disappointment can be put down a little bit when they have the bronze medal around their necks. So Calvin Bassey is suspended, so he won't play. I'm not sure how fit Wilfred Ndidi is, so he can come back into the team. Also, we know that Victor Osimhen was had ankle problems during that semi-final as it went on. But if he's fit, he should start. If not, then Paul Onuachu has shown that he has enough quality to lead the line. But the mentality should be that of going to win and getting that third place.
All right, let me come to you, Mitayo Daramola. For Calvin, he has talked about us going all out for the bronze. We have a record. We've never lost a bronze medal match in the history of the competition, but coming up against Egypt. The last time Mitayo played against Egypt, we won. That was in the group stage in 2021. And we're coming up against a Salah's Egypt that wants to also get something. Even though he's tired of maybe a second place finish, he wants to get the trophy. Calvin Bassey is out. Who do you think we should bring in? What kind of formation should we play? Is it the same formation that Morocco was able to understand and, play the very best game to curtail our players? What should be Eric Kel's setup going into this game?
I quite agree. I think our best leg should be put forward first. We saw the game against Uganda where we'd already won our first 2 games. And, the squad was rotated. A couple of players were given rest. But, someone like Igor came in and they did a very good job. Not bad. Not bad. So, those players, some of them have already played which is very, very important. Played complete 90 minutes. They won't be faced by coming in to play or deputize for any player that's injured today. And recall, Nigeria might have won 8 bronze medals, but Eric Schell hasn't won any. So I'm sure he's more desperate than even myself that's saying that they should feel their best team. He wants to at least win a medal. That would be on his CV. That's very, very good for him on his CV. And if he gets to stay on, he can build on that. And not forgetting that most of these boys are newbies to the AFCON. They haven't won anything. Not like the Iwobis, the Ndidis, the Calvin Bassis who had won silver medal. Most of these boys haven't won anything. So, they'll be very, very desperate, and the coach definitely. As per formation, look, I always leave that to the coach. I'm saying, look, if you play against a stronger opposition that figures you out, kudos to the stronger opposition. But, we played a style that has been beautiful to watch, and we want us to continue in that style. Attacking football, creativity at its best. It's beautiful to watch. Hence why there's little criticism for the team, because the football was beautiful. 14 goals, still the highest goal scorer at this tournament so far. And we would like to score more goals. And remember, Victor Osimhen is still chasing the highest goal scorer. So who says if he's fit and able, we won't be able to, we will be able to create more chances for him to score more goals and hopefully leave with the highest goal scorer gong and a bronze medal.
All right, interesting. Calvin, I don't know if you joined when we're talking about the referee for the game. I know you are one man who feels the referee is professional, but a Moroccan referee in a game involving Nigeria and Egypt, you know fully well that we've not recovered from what happened with, allegedly what people are saying about how, the hosts have, arranged the tournament, even though it's not, true or fact. But what do you make of the officiating referees for the game? Do you think that the boys, what do you think the boys can do to take that off their minds and then go do their job?
I don't think that this referee would have any influence, negative influence on this game at all. No, I don't think he would. The only one I was worried about from the off was the referee for the semi-final, and I thought even before he got, as a Ghanaian, Laria, even before he got appointed for that semi-final, I had already said something that he was the worst referee at the tournament, and he proved it again in the semi-final. But that's bygone. But for today, no. I don't see any problem with having a Moroccan referee. I don't think that's a problem at all. This referee would. Let me put it this way: there is nothing going to affect Morocco in the future after today's game. So there's nothing for them to gain if anything happens in this match. So no, the referee won't play any part in how this game will pan out. I don't think he would.
All right, I have a question I want to ask, gentlemen, both Ibitayo and yourself, Calvin Onka. Eric Chell is at the center of a lot of decisions next. We've heard calls for his continuity. We've also heard maybe we should move on from there, because whatever he's going to achieve today, other coaches in the past, even indigenous coaches, have achieved for us. Where do you think, should we keep Eric Chell after this tournament? Should he be the man that will take us to maybe the next promised land, the next World Cup, or the next African Cup of Nations glory? What should be the fate of the Malian coach if Nigeria gets to win bronze and, of course, finish the tournament?
Even if we don't win bronze, Eric Chell needs to stay. There's no rhyme or reason for Eric Chell leaving. I think I made a video just the day after that semi-final defeat that we've been here before. Nigeria, we've been here before. In 1992, that's how we produced a really, really powerful team that went to Senegal 92 AFCON. We lost narrowly to Ghana in the semi-final and ended up with a third place. I worried at that time, just as I'm worrying now, that we were going to derail what Clement Westerhoff was putting together by sacking him. But fortunately, Westerhoff was not sacked. He continued cooking what he was cooking and ended up qualifying for the US 94 World Cup for the first time, and then won the AFCON before going into the World Cup. Got to the World Cup, and everybody knows what we did in the opening game of the World Cup, battering Bulgaria in that opening game and all that. So I see similarities. I see similarities with that time and now. We would lose so much that is being built if Eric Shelley is not allowed to stay on. There will be two AFCONs between now and 2028. So why should we get rid of him? We need him to stay.
All right. Before I come to Ibitayo, let's also let our viewers know that our correspondent, who is, moving from where he is now, going to Casablanca in no moment from now, Udoka Ojoku, joins us. Udoka, good morning to you. Thank you very much for joining.
Having a flight conversation with a fan of Morocco, he saw me shivering, and he came to give me a bit of warmth and said, look, Nigeria has a great team, and he wishes us well against Egypt later today.
Udoka, I would have allowed Ibitayo to respond to you, but I know you might get the blow below the belt. But let's look at, I mean, you covered the training yesterday between for Nigeria and, of course, for Egypt. With what you saw in the training, can you tell us, from a tactical aspect or maybe formation aspect, what do you think we should expect from Eric Chell's squad going into the third place match against Egypt?
Well, to be very honest with you, yesterday's training was the first time I didn't see a crowd of Nigerian journalists in Casablanca. I was shocked. And it felt like a lot of fans a lot of journalists didn't really care about today's game. Even from the event that happened last night, talking about the last dance, there were a couple of the journalists were saying, look, we shouldn't bother about this golden bronze, so to say, that we should just hand over the third place to Egypt because Morocco has already won this one. People are not really optimistic for looking ahead of that game. But of course, we must do our job as journalists to go there, get the reports, and get it out there for our viewers to see. So there's not really a lot of optimism coming from the journalists, but the players are looking forward to this game to at least go back home with something, and hopefully they get to the need. If they win this bronze medal, it becomes their 9th bronze medal at the Africa Cup of Nations.
All right, Luca, you mentioned that Nigerian journalists did not really turn up for the training. Maybe if it was the final training, maybe we would have seen quite a number of them make that trip for wherever they are to Casablanca. It brings me to my next question. Is there a sense of urgency or calm from the players? I mean, the body language of the players yesterday, is it a case of, let's just go and play? I mean, we heard that the tickets have been sold out. Which of is it more of the Egyptians? I mean, maybe on paper, or I want you to confirm that. Are we going to see a representation of the Nigerian supporters in Casablanca today?
Yeah. So before I answer that question, right? Luckily the sun is out. It's been raining since last night. Before I answer that question, we bumped into former NFF President Amaju Pinnick, and we're talking about politics in sports, and he said, look, there's no politics. Doesn't think it's all about politics. But here again, Nigeria plays against Egypt. The Moroccan referee has been appointed. During the press conference, the Egyptian journalists staged a walkout from the press conference because they protested the Moroccan referee. And I'm wondering, why would you do such a thing? We happen to Nigeria and Morocco when we got a Ghanaian referee, which is totally wrong, if you ask me. Now, talking about the sense of urgency, we couldn't even tell the mood of the players yesterday, but they were all optimistic ahead of this game. But we couldn't tell the mood of those players that we saw yesterday. The only joy we felt yesterday was that the Desert was back in camp. But will he play later today? We don't even know what type of formation Eric Shaw will put out later on. But just hoping that we'll get to see a couple of the new boys play for the Super Eagles because more games will go down later on this year, and we hope to see them in action.
All right, so look, I'll take a pause. Calvin Onwuka and, of course, Ibita Daramala will go on a quick break. And when we come back, we'll continue from here. Welcome back. You're still watching AFCON Express on News Central TV. I'm Favor Ito. I have Ibita Daramala in the studio. Local Joko, Calvin Onwuka right there. And we're all looking forward to today's game between Nigeria and Egypt. Let me come to Ibita now. Ibita, should Nigeria fail to win against Egypt today, would you call your campaign as a success, or how would you grade the team's campaign should they not win a bronze medal?
It's easy to make a decision or be rushed to say, okay, they failed because they didn't get a medal. But if you look back at the start of the campaign, how much trust did we have in this team? Remember, it was off the back of the failure to qualify for the World Cup, and then we had most people felt that this team was going to disappoint at this World Cup, this Nations Cup, but they've done well. We've seen growth, which is very, very key. First time in a long while, I thoroughly enjoyed watching Nigeria play football, not just one game, more than one game in a tournament. Usually we'll struggle. Even with the last one where we got to the finals and lost out, it wasn't actually, if you look at how the team played, it wasn't actually really entertaining or really something exciting for the average fan out there. So even if we failed to get a bronze medal, the team, for me, has had a major milestone in the sense that they now have a shape, they have a style to play. Now it's looking for variation of that style that can excel when you have a team that can play, that can stop you from excelling with that particular style. That will matter, and that will take time. And of course, the boys continue to play together, understanding themselves. So, yeah, for me personally, I've been satisfied. Even after the semi-final, I've been satisfied with how the team has played, and I don't think the result of the third place game would affect my decision.
All right, Calvin Onwuka, I mean, the game today, it's actually a bronze medal match, bronze at stake. Nigerians will call it golden bronze. I mean, we've won 8 bronze medals so far. If we win this one today, it's a 9 bronze medal. And just like Ibita said some minutes ago, some players in the team have not even tested bronze medal, some of them who joined recently in the national team. Calvin, let's look at the Egyptian side. I mean, coming into this game, they also have a lot at stake. They also want to go back with something. Hossam Hassan, former player and now a coach of the country, coming up against the Nigerian side, who they defeated in a friendly game in Cairo. How much of difficulty is it for Egypt against Nigeria, and what do you think they'll be coming in with when they play the Super Eagles of Nigeria?
I was on a show on international TV, I think, just after the quarterfinals, and I did mention that of the 4 qualifiers for the semi-final, Egypt were the worst in all ramifications. This Egypt side is not very good. They really aren't very good. It was a shock that they were able to pick Côte d'Ivoire. I couldn't believe that they could pick Côte d'Ivoire, but they did. The one thing they have going for them is that they are very, very obdurate in defense. They're tight. They're difficult to play. They're difficult to play against. Offensively, outside of Mamouche and Salah on his last legs, they don't have too many players to worry serious teams at this level, honestly. So they're not going to do anything different today. They're going to play that same way. They're going to be difficult to get through. So Nigeria will require a lot of patience. But what they also have is that they're good on set pieces. And the absence of Calvin Bassey could be felt seriously today in that regard. But if we're able to keep them at bay on these set pieces, we should be fine. We really should be fine. Egypt. I also describe Egypt as a country as AFCON royalty, indeed, with their seven previous triumphs. They're AFCON royalty, but over the last 4 editions, they really haven't done. They've reached how many finals? They reached the final in 2017. They reached the final in 2021, where they lost to Senegal. and lost to Cameroon and Senegal respectively. But neither of these tournaments did Egypt play the kind of football that they played under Hassan Shehata in 06, in 08, and 2010. They've not been really good offensively and expansive. They've not played the kind of expansive football that they used to play under Shehata. So that's why I am not overtly worried if we have our game head on and play to the very best of our abilities. We should be fine. We really should be. But Egypt also would want the third place. They want the bronze. But after what the journalists did in the press conference yesterday, one would even wonder if the players really will be as interested in the game, just as the journalists are probably not.
All right. I mean, only a matter of hours we get to find out. But our correspondent, Udoka Njoku, caught up with the former president of the Nigeria Football Federation, Amaju Pinnick, who spoke and applauded Morocco as a good host, rating the tournament's organization as outstanding and among the best on the continent. Pinnick also turned attention to Super Eagles' backing head coach, Eric Chell, while calling for further technical development. Now, with the bronze medal match still to play, focus already shifting to a long-term progress, continuity, and raising standards within the national team. Let's hear from Amaju Pinnick.
Morocco has demonstrated beyond 100% in terms of organization, in terms of everything in this tournament. They've been exceptional. You know, so beyond the pitch of play, I think they've given beyond what we expected. So we are very thankful to the government of Morocco. As for the coach, I've spoken to him. I've also spoken to NFF. I spoke with Hassan, you know, the head of FIFA Technical, and I said, no, listen, it's exceptionally good, but we still need even the best physicians to go for further training, that they can still do some kind of internship with some of these top clubs all over the world, just to give him, you know, some of the add-ons in terms of football and technical ability, which I believe they will do. I've spoken with the president, and I met with Hassan yesterday, and we are working towards that. You know, so we are happy.
All right, let me come to Ibita Daramola. I mean, why Pinnick also praised the host nation. He's saying, Eric Chell, we need to also create, you know, maybe a technical course to upgrade and to, you know, better, you know, the coaching of the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Your thoughts on this?
Well, I thought that coaches personally go to these courses by themselves. It's not the federation, but maybe there's something I don't know. But yeah, there's nothing wrong in going for refresher courses to upgrade and, of course, help yourself. At the end of the day, it's for your own CV, not for anybody's CV. And I like that he also endorsed the coach. Like, I think everybody has said here and agreed that the man should be given an extension, allowed to continue what he seems to be building. It looks good at first sight. The foundation looks fine. So let him continue building. And yeah, Nigeria will be benefit of it when he continues going for this refresher course to upgrade himself.
All right, Calvin, it seems the former president also has taken your side hinting on, you know, to NFL or Eric Chell staying longer in the national team, also calling for support. We also hear that 2 players will be out for Egypt's game, for that game between Nigeria and Egypt. Marwan Atia and forward Salah Mushen, both of them were suspended. So it's not just about Calvin Bassey. We also have 2 players in the national team of Egypt, maybe not key players. They've been also suspended for this game. And Udoka Njoku, we must let you go now because, of course, I know you're preparing for that game today between Nigeria and Benin Republic. But I don't know if you have that ginger, the energy we saw before the semi-final game, or it's just maybe they just go play. I mean, let's just see what happens. Udoka Njoku.
Well, to be very honest with you, Favour, I love to see what the Super Eagles will do in this game against. I know it's the bronze medal, but I would love to see Nigeria make a statement against Egypt later today, fix them, and win that golden bronze, as they call it. Beat them silly and win the bronze medal, and we'll see what the conversation would be afterwards. But there's something I do not like that is currently going on with a couple of journalists. I think there's an agenda against Eric Chell. Some are saying that he's not a great coach and that he should be fired. Pesero played, they call it haram football. Pesero played haram football, got us to the final, but we lost. But Eric Chell is not the type of manager. Without Osimhen, Edition would not exist. And I'm wondering, is it wrong for a coach to build a team around a player? We need to ask ourselves the question. After this tournament, we need to go back to the drawing board, and hopefully the NFF will give Eric Shaw more time to continue with that job. But for now, we're preparing to head to Casablanca for that game.
All right, Udoka, thank you very much. I know you two also have an opinion as to what you think. Other journalists will probably have their own opinion. I mean, some would say play dirty and get us the trophy. Some would say play beautiful football and get us the trophy. But whichever the case is, some countries want results. Some countries want, you know, a long-term process. But wait to see what the NFF does with Eric Chell. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you.
All right, that was Udoka Njoko right there giving us updates. We still have Ibita and the Calvin Oka. It's time to just get a peep of what we might expect tomorrow for the Morocco game. Morocco will face Senegal in Sunday's African Cup of Nations final in Rabat, seeking to end the 50-year wait for continental glory. Despite emerging as one of Africa's dominant football nations over the past decade, Morocco have won the tournament only once in 1976 and have repeatedly fallen short in recent editions, backed by home support and boosted by heavy investment in players and infrastructure. And Morocco entering the final after strong victories over Cameroon and Nigeria, showing attacking confidence. And of course, Senegal, however, posed a major challenge, reaching their third final in 4 tournaments with a squad that has lost just once in 34 matches. The final highlights Africa's 2 most consistent teams with continental supremacy and history at stake. Calvin, let me bring you in before I let you go. 2 wonderful nations will be coming up, on Sunday. In fact, maybe aside the North African countries, but I know the North African countries are not so united when you look at football. A lot of persons that say Senegal just create silence in Rabat, help us defeat Morocco. But what will Senegal be going up against when they face Morocco on Sunday?
They're already up against it. From last night, they started complaining about issues that the Moroccans, apparently they said they didn't have security as they should. The hotel that they were booked, they said they didn't like it, so they've had to leave that hotel. The Senegalese are already complaining, and these complaints are not manufactured; they are truth. And from what I've observed, especially even going into the Nigerian game, the hosts are prepared to do whatever it will take for them to win this trophy tomorrow. There's this sense that because of what happened at Qatar 2022, people have this feeling that Morocco are a powerhouse in African football. The facts don't back that up. Off the top of my head, I actually think this is probably Morocco's first AFCON final. This is their first AFCON final. When they won it in '76, which was 50 years ago, there was no final. It was a round robin where they topped the league. I'm struggling. I'm trying to remember. I might be wrong, and I'm sure somebody will put me to right. This is their first final. They're not an African football powerhouse in Africa, in the continent, when it comes to AFCON. So they've reached this final, and it took penalties to be able to defeat the Super Eagles of Nigeria. They won't get this far and not win it, which for me would be sad, because the 2 best teams in this tournament for me have been Senegal and Nigeria, and so the Senegalese have been quietly imperious. They've been, they're not even, I wouldn't even describe it as arrogant.
Okay.
But the way they've played, they've gone about every game. They've walked onto the pitch believing that they can win every match.
All right, Calvin.
And that's how they've been.
All right, Calvin, I will have to go on another quick break. And when we come back, we'll wrap up the show. Thank you very much. Welcome back. You're watching AFCON Express on News Central TV. I'm Favor Ito Ahabibita Jaramon. And thank you so much, Calvin Onka. He was with us some minutes ago talking about the game on Sunday. Ibita, you want to also, share your thoughts on the game on Sunday. Morocco, Senegal, yes, they've been complaining about security and what to expect. Tickets not getting to them as expected. And Calvin did say that it's expected when you look at the host nation and what they probably want to do. Same thing we also witnessed between Nigeria and Ivory Coast 2024.
Yeah, it reeks of desperation. I mean, maybe because we are Nigerians and we are, like I've said this earlier in the show, we believe in winning and winning fair. That's why we play football. That's our football, especially on the international stage. That's what we always believe. So when you see other nations going underhand tactics to try and get an edge over its opposition, the first question that pops to my head is, are you not confident enough in your team that you have to start doing this underhand tactics? Nevertheless, the Moroccan side in the last 2 years look like the best team in Africa as a team. But player for player, pound for pound, like they like to say in boxing, the Senegalese have the best players in Africa. I mean, you could go through that 25-man list, and you hardly would you find any nation that comes close to them, even from the players from their bench. They have experienced players. 2021, they just won the AFCON. So players who have a good medal around their neck, they know what it feels to win. They know how it feels to win it. And they won't be faced by this. Yes, they will lay their complaints, but they won't be faced. And the Moroccans know they have a very, very hard task against them. Because the Moroccans, the Senegalese side, are patient. Very, very patient. If you bring a low block and you think you're going to stop them, they will just beat their time. And this is, you won't want to do that against the Senegalese. The Moroccans have to come out. They know that. The Senegalese know that the Moroccans have to come out. And they like Calvin actually said, they have this bit of arrogance, which is not wrong about them. Like, it's as if they know what the outcome of the game before the game is played. And that's a dangerous team to play. A team that walks in with arrogance and can back it up. The Moroccans have, I mean, it's no wonder they are doing all this thing to try and get them out of their concentration. But the Senegalese, they are focused. And yeah, maybe a little bit biased coming from me too. I would love to see the Senegalese win. But I mean, I've been removing bias. I think the Senegalese have this slight edge. Okay. I'll give it a 55 to 45% chance.
All right. Just to also add, Senegal's national team received an enthusiastic welcome in Rabat with fans surrounding the squad, making it difficult for players to board their bus. Just 2 days before the African Cup of Nations final against Morocco, supporters expressed excitement and confidence in their team, hoping to see Senegal lift the trophy. Some fans lamented the limited availability of tickets, a lighted high demand for the decisive clash. But the Senegalese squad, known as the Lions of Teranga, will face host Morocco in Sunday's final, aiming to claim the continental crown. Let's get to hear from some of the persons, of course, around the team expressing their concerns.
Mais là, on ne retrouve pas les tickets, on n'a aucune information et nous savons tous que les Sénégalais sont nombreux ici depuis le début de la CAN. On est en train de faire des déplacements de Rabat à Tanger, des autres villes vers Tanger. Donc là, on veut assister et soutenir notre équipe. On ne trouve pas les tickets. On ne peut pas concevoir que nos joueurs, ce sont des professionnels, des internationaux qui viennent ici. On nous met 3-4 policiers ici, pas de barrière. En plus, ils laissent un espace, par exemple, pour que les joueurs passent. Et puis, ils mettent les joueurs dans la foule. Donc, si ce n'était pas, par exemple, la courtoisie des Sénégalais et leur calme, nos joueurs auront d'énormes difficultés pour accéder à leur bus.
Parce que voilà, on est meilleur que le Maroc quand même. Voilà, on a une équipe beaucoup plus performante. Bon, pas que le Maroc, mais quand même, voilà, on peut gagner le Maroc. Et j'ai confiance à nos joueurs. On peut le faire. Et d'après le match contre l'Égypte, je sais qu'on peut le faire. Je sais. C'est ça que je ressens. C'est au plus profond de moi en tant que Sénégalaise. Voilà. Et je sais qu'on va battre le Maroc.
Inch'Allah.
Inch'Allah.
Une finale, ça se joue pas. Une finale, ça se gagne. Nous, les Sénégalais, on est prêts à 100%. On a une détermination à fond. Quel que soit Alpha, on est juste venu en mission et on va remporter la Coupe à Dakar, Inch'Allah.
Si les Marocains disent cela, c'est parce qu'ils sont en train de prendre confiance après leur victoire contre le Nigeria et le Cameroun. Mais dimanche, Inch'Allah, on verra qu'il n'y a qu'un seul lion dans la jungle et c'est le lion de la Teranga, Inch'Allah. Le lion d'Atlas n'existera pas le dimanche, Inch'Allah. Non, elle fait peur. Elle fait peur par rapport à certaines individualités, par exemple Brahim Diaz et Ashraf Hakimi et autres. Mais comme que le Sénégal a réussi à neutraliser Mohamed Salah et Marmous, c'est pas Brahim Diaz qui va nous poser problème et El Kabi.
Oui, mon frère. Oui, mon frère. I mean, there's only one lion in the jungle. Will it be the Atlas Lions or the Senegal Lions? Only about, you know, a day or about over 24 hours from now before we get to see that. But I want to say a big thank you to you, Ibita Jaramala, for coming on the show today. And may the best team win, hoping that Golden Bros comes back to Abuja.
As always, yeah.
All right, and to our viewers, thank you very much for joining. AFCON Express come your way again on Sunday at 11 a.m. Nigerian time. And favor Itoa, do have a lovely weekend.